Now for the exciting part, let's meet our speakers. Our speakers are some of the smartest people I know in the SEO and MarTech space, and I'm really glad that they are joining us today. I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Rachel Sheldon. Rachel is an inbound professor for HubSpot Academy, and she's focused on educating and inspiring people about HubSpot CMS Hub. When she's not teaching website design or SEO, you can find her reading historical fiction, singing shout tunes, or taking care of her many plants. Welcome, Rachel. Our second speaker I'd like to welcome is Rob Bonham. He is a senior SEO strategist at SmartBug Media. He has worked with hundreds of startups and large enterprises over the course of his career. Rob's approach to SEO for both B2B and B2C businesses have helped clients drive consistent incremental performance gains. What Rob enjoys most about SEO is helping clients connect the dots between tactics and business metrics. Welcome, Rob. Our third speaker is Tony Strack. Tony can speak client, but he can also speak fluent HTML, CSS, JS, Hubble, just to name a few. With a keen eye for visual details, a technical savvy for code, and the user experience always in mind, he turns web designs into web experiences. He always improves performance by staying on top of the fast-paced world of web design trends, best practices, and performance. Tony enjoys the great outdoors, from hiking to kayaking to camping and bleak biking purple. Welcome, Tony.
Hello.
Hi,
Thanks
happy
for
to be
having us.
here.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining. I'm sure all of our audience is really excited to hear from all of you, especially after those amazing intros. All right. Speaking of HubSpot and data, let's quickly touch base on the results of the poll. Thank you for everyone in the audience who has already answered it. I will share my screen here in just a second to show you. Let me just quickly refresh. Alrighty. Let's update it. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so let's see here. Apparently, we don't have anyone who considers themselves an SEO expert. So, which is okay. That's great. We are here to learn, right? And the majority of our audience is saying yes, they currently use HubSpot's SEO tool, but they would like to learn more about how to leverage this tool. So, yes, this is the perfect webinar to do that. And 40% is saying no, but they would like to learn. So we have a 40 and 60% about around the users HubSpot's SEO tool. So great. We're excited to get this started. Okay, so we'll answer all of your questions around soon. And let's start with the first question. Yeah. Okay. First question here is, what are the things you need to know when migrating from a different CMS like WordPress into HubSpot? This is something that a lot of our clients have asked us, and I'm sure Tony and Rob know this. So take it away, guys. I'm not sure who would like to go first.
I can take it away. So as you may or may not know, the CMS is marketing focused first and foremost. So it's great if you want to merge your website and your marketing efforts together. I like to think of HubSpot kind of as that all-in-one solution, and you're not as reliant on third-party plugins like you might have to be if you're using a CMS like WordPress. So things like SEO, your forms, security, the integrated analytics, and a lot more just kind of come out of the box with HubSpot. I will mention there is also an extensive app marketplace if you want to extend HubSpot further, but the essentials are really all there. So when you're looking at hard costs with a CMS like WordPress, it's not really there. With HubSpot, it's kind of all packaged into one. And as that SaaS CMS, HubSpot takes care of the back-end maintenance and those updates for you. So if you're a marketer or a developer who doesn't really want to mess with that kind of stuff, it's really technical, HubSpot takes care of that for you. So you can focus on your marketing efforts instead. And they also offer the hosting and SSL, which comes with it too. So another hard cost removed from that overall price as well. And the last thing I would mention, as far as like the editing experience goes, so HubSpot uses a drag and drop page builder. With WordPress, that's not there by default. You could leverage a plugin like Divi or Elementor to kind of create that experience for you. Otherwise, if you're using a CMS like Squarespace or Wix, that's kind of built in natively there. So that drag and drop page builder is really intuitive. It allows you to not be as reliant on a developer because you can really create your new templates, layouts, and sections yourself. You can add or remove sections and modules and reorganize content. So again, just focusing on your marketing efforts and not focusing on the development side of it, it's really beneficial.
I agree with you, Tony. I think that has made my life easier as a marketer for sure. And the fact that I don't, as you mentioned, have to rely on one of our developers to do everything has been a great time saver for me. Rachel, I don't know, I think you had something to say here.
Yeah, no, definitely. I totally agree with everything that Tony said and that you mentioned too. Like it's a very marketer friendly platform. Everything is kind of out of the box for you, easy to use, but it is also very extensible for a developer if you do, have a developer who you have on your team or who you're working with. And it, saves you in those additional costs, not only for plugins and hosting and things like that, in money, but also the cost and time that you spend, figuring out the plugins, updating them. You can focus that time on more important activities like actually engaging with your customers. So that's one of the benefits to keep in mind if you're considering migrating to CMS Hub.
Yeah, and from an SEO organic search perspective, it's important to remember that moving from one CMS to another can be touchy. So you can minimize risk if you do it correctly. So making sure you have all URLs and content exported before any move is made is crucial, as you want all that to be migrated over to your HubSpot instance. If URL changes are being made, you'll also want to make a 301 redirect map. So all old URLs will want to point to the corresponding new ones. And HubSpot just really makes it easy to support those 301 redirects right there within the CMS. So it's typically not as scary a prospect of moving over from one CMS to another as it can be with other CMSs.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Rob, that it's not that scary because like the first thought as a marketer would be, oh my gosh, migrating from one CMS to another, it's going to be difficult. It's super scary. That's the first thought you get. But as Rob mentions, HubSpot definitely makes it easier for us and it's very user friendly. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you for giving us those insights, you guys. I am going to move over to the next question, which is, what's the biggest difference in the approach that should be taken by someone who's just starting with HubSpot CMS and with an SEO strategy versus someone who's using the platform and the tools and has been using it for a period longer than 6 months, for example? What are, I would like to know what are some of the advanced SEO and CMS strategies that can be used within HubSpot? Or, what should you focus on if you're a beginner with HubSpot CMS and SEO?
Yeah, I can kick that off. I'll take the opportunity here to plug the Academy resources. Obviously, I'm partial to those. So we do have a bunch of educational courses, and resources. If you are a beginner, or even if you've been using the software for a while and maybe you want a refresher, you want to see if there's any features that you aren't leveraging yet. So for CMS Hub, I would definitely recommend taking the CMS for Marketers certification if you're a marketer, and the CMS for Developers certification if you're a developer. Those are two really great resources that cover the full scope of the CMS platform. And then in terms of SEO, if you're kind of starting out or you need a refresher on the basics of SEO, I'd highly recommend the SEO certification. And then if you want to take your learning to the next level, learn a couple different, maybe more intermediate or advanced SEO tactics, there's actually a brand new SEO 2 certification, which goes into some of those more niche applications that you might find if you've been doing SEO for a little while. So definitely recommend checking all of those courses out. I know that's a lot of content, but you can kind of pick and choose which videos you watch. Or if you're really into it, you can take all of them and get all the certifications and post on LinkedIn and tag me and tag HubSpot Academy with that.
I'm excited to take SEO too. I haven't taken that one, but I'm excited to see what's new there.
Fun one. I think the biggest difference is the ability to put the tools to use. So as Rachel stated, getting HubSpot SEO certified can certainly help, especially new SEOs and content marketers that are just learning SEO and learning what tools HubSpot actually has to offer. And that can make a huge impact on your future content strategy and performance. A new user will also need to craft that content strategy. So you can put to some aspects of the HubSpot tool set to use as soon as you start getting content published. If you're 6+ months in, you should be able to have enough content published. You can start taking a look at your figures in Google Analytics and Google Search Console, and that will inform what is or isn't working, and you can further optimize using the HubSpot tools from that point forward.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Rob and Rachel mentioned. I'll drop some more content for you to take in. So there's the Academy, like Rachel mentioned. HubSpot has a really extensive knowledge base with a lot of common questions that are answered there. So that's a great resource. And then HubSpot has a really great community. The community forums, a lot of people utilize those to ask questions and get answers from the community and HubSpot experts. So you could look there first to see if there's an answer to one of your questions, get advice. And then if you're comfortable with development, a couple great resources are their development documentation, which is really robust. I leverage it still to this day. I've been developing within HubSpot for around 8 years, and it's super beneficial and constantly updated. And then they also have this Slack channel for developers, and they actually have an SEO specific channel there. So you could join that community in Slack and use their search functionality to look through SEO questions to see if they've been answered already. And if not, ask your own question and hopefully get a response there.
Yeah, I think those are really great resources. And plugging in a little bit of my knowledge here, I think that if someone comes as a beginner, as Rob mentioned, starting out by developing their content strategy and then leveraging the tools. And for someone who has already been using, SEO and creating content for a while, I guess going back and seeing what's there and updating what's an old content and then refreshing their linking strategy, making sure that the internal linking is working correctly, which you can do on HubSpot's SEO tool for sure. So great. Thank you for those answers. Let's move on to the third question, which is, I think, my favorite question of today. What are your favorite features found on HubSpot's free CMS, and how do you guys use them?
I can kick this one off. We recently piloted the HubSpot free CMS for a microsite, and it was really successful. And first off, this is amazing to see that HubSpot has a free CMS now. I'm sure they want to be competitive with the free CMSs like WordPress and whatnot. So it's great that it's there, and it's actually really powerful right out of the box. Some of those features, you get your drag and drop editor that I brushed on a little bit earlier. You get free hosting and SSL for free. I mean, Where else can you get that? I'm not sure. So that's pretty big. And then you get like some simplified integrated website analytics. You get that 24/7 security and monitoring, so you don't have to worry about getting hacked or something of that nature. And that server management aspect, the technical stuff that you might not want to worry about, that's all included. And then since we're talking about SEO here, I want to talk about the performance enhancements that it offers out of the box. So you'll get like image compression and optimization, JavaScript and CSS minification, browser and server caching. They have a CDN, content delivery network, so you're getting content fast depending on your location. And they have a lot more. And the reason why I want to make this known is because these performance enhancements that HubSpot offers out of the box, they're going to improve your core web vitals, your page performance, and that overall user experience, which is going to help you rank higher against your competitors.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Those are all really awesome features of the free CMS. Having all of the power of the full HubSpot platform behind you. That's my favorite thing about the free CMS, in addition to everything that Tony said. Because when you get the free CMS, you also get all of HubSpot's other free tools. So you get, free email, all the other marketing tools, the free CRM. So you have all of your customer data in the same place as your website, which is a really, really powerful thing. So you can leverage all that information you're gathering about your customers through your marketing activities, and use that to kind of inform your content strategy and have it all interconnected all in one platform. So that's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
To reiterate what Tony and Rachel are talking about, how everything's all in one, compared to WordPress, there's a lot of plugins that you need to be adding in to emulate the same sort of functionality that HubSpot has. And that can actually slow down the performance of your site. So with that being said, HubSpot tends to be a little more lightweight compared to WordPress. So you can typically get some better performance scores on your core web vitals because of that. Of course, it's going to depend on how you're developing your site overall. But on the average, it tends to perform a little bit better than WordPress. Also, as far as the free components of the platform, HubSpot's optimized panel is really where you get the majority of SEO value on the free version. It assesses your on-page elements of published content and tells you what needs to be fixed and how to fix that. So it'll address things like title tag, meta descriptions, headings, even internal linking. And this is a huge time saver, especially if you are an individual that's newer to SEO.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one too. I love the optimize section for every content page that we have. It's so easy to see right on the right side. Just like click on optimize, have it on the left side, sorry, and you just can see, oh, here are the title tags, and they tell you exactly what you need to do. So that's pretty awesome. All right. I think we have one more question. Let's move on. And this question is, what's the biggest benefit of using HubSpot's SEO tool versus other tools like SEMrush, Google Search Console, or Google Analytics? Who would like to start? Rob, would you like to go first? I know you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is these actually kind of work hand in hand, right? So with HubSpot, HubSpot is a great place to assess the content that's already been what content that's been being published with it from your content strategy, but you need to have an informed content strategy based on keyword research, whether that's brand new keywords that you're trying to target or taking a look at competitors' keywords. So a tool like SEMrush is able to inform that content strategy. Whereas with Google Analytics and Google Search Console, that's assessing how traffic is coming into your site to the content that you've stood up. And so working with all those hand in hand are basically, your at a minimum your marketing tool set. With what's really great about HubSpot is that they can unify some of the reporting aspects in Google Analytics and Google Search Console. So you have that dashboard where data is being fed in, so you have that as easy access as you're right there within the CMS.
Yeah,
Rachel.
that's a great. Oh, sorry. I was going to say that's a great feature. The new SEO analytics tool. It's pretty recent, like within the last 6 months, been added to the SEO tool set, and it feeds in the data from Google Search Console once you set up that integration. But it displays it in a really nice, kind of easy to digest format where you get kind of your main metrics at the top, and you can dive into some more of the specifics. But for those of us who might find Google Search Console a little overwhelming, it's a great resource just to see everything kind of holistically at a high level. I also always love the recommendations feature. That's really great if you want to find places to improve on your website. It breaks everything down by priority and who should be tackling it, what the issue is, what pages it's on. That's a really helpful audit feature. And of course, the topics feature as well is great for mapping out your content strategy, figuring out your topic clusters, and sort of visualizing, okay, here's what content I'm creating to build authority around these particular topics, and making sure it's all linked together. So those are all the SEO tools in HubSpot. And I think, like Rob said, they work really well in combination with a dedicated SEO tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs, and then the analytics in Google Search Console, Google Analytics.
Yeah, all good stuff there. I'd echo what they all say, and maybe dive into the SEO tool recommendations, which I leverage quite a bit as a developer. So like Rachel had mentioned, it makes it just a really clear view of what's not working on your website and opportunities and how you can make it better. So like she had mentioned, one of the things was impact, and it buckets it in a high, medium, or low, and also technical difficulty in that same ranking. So you could easily look for some low hanging fruit. So your high impact, low technical difficulty items are going to get you your greatest return value. So that's something that I like to look for really quick. And again, it was already mentioned, but it does a good job of telling you what page the issue is on or what pages. So you can easily see if it's happening on all of the pages. That's probably a good one to go after and make that fix there. So that's something that we utilize often, and it's really beneficial.
I agree with you, Tony. I think that the fact that HubSpot's tool and the recommendation tool gives us high, medium, or low impact is great. And then not just that, but it will also tell you who is the person that would be adequate to make that recommendation, right? So if it's a marketer or if it's a developer, right? So you won't have to guess, oh, who should I assign this to? Who should be doing this fix, right? So I think that's one of my favorite things. But I do want to ask, I think Rachel would be best to answer this question. I do want to ask, is the HubSpot SEO recommendation tool on the free CMS, or is this for HubSpot Enterprise and Pro only?
Yeah, it's for Pro and Enterprise.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's something that probably our audience would want to know. Speaking of our audience, we did get one question, and I think we're right on time with our questions. So we can go into the audience now. So Aileen is asking, which is better analytics built in HubSpot or Google Analytics? Which analytics is better built? Is it in HubSpot or Google Analytics? What do you guys think?
I'm biased towards HubSpot. I love the HubSpot analytics that are available. I find Google Analytics really, really confusing. And the HubSpot lays it out really simply, but it's also really powerful. I mean, if you have, professional or enterprise, you can really do a lot with the analytics tools in HubSpot and get a lot of really granular data. But Rob and Tony, I can let you guys speak to that a little bit more unbiasedly, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, analytics can be a pretty complicated beast to tackle. So that's one thing that is great about HubSpot is that HubSpot takes information from analytics and kind of distills it in a way that's more easily digestible, I guess you could say. So you can just at a quick glance get information about the performance of your landing pages, how your organic traffic is trending over time, in a real nice visualization compared to other channels. So Google Analytics, if you know really what you're doing, and you have the time to really dive into it, can be a pretty robust platform to get a lot of data from. But if you're, say, new to HubSpot or new as a marketer, HubSpot can really make it a lot more easily accessible and easier to understand than jumping into analytics and getting inundated with so much data.
Yep, same thoughts here. It's just naturally integrated into HubSpot, so you don't have to do any of that upfront work. It presents it in a really easily digestible manner, so you can get a quick view at a high level of what you need to look at. And if you're looking for something more robust, then you would tap into Google Analytics or another tool.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay, we have a couple of other questions here. I hope you guys are ready. Nikki here is asking, what are some quick SEO fixes for website optimization?
Great question. So I would say it's definitely what you can control. So there might be things that that are much easier to do by yourself than having to tap developer resources. So being able to address things like your title tags and meta descriptions and heading tags and internal linking, those are all things that are real easy to control as a marketer within the HubSpot CMS. So that's a really great a great benefit of HubSpot, is being able to go in there and do those things and be able to work off the recommendations. Also, there is the topic feature as well, which can show you, as you stand up content that's important, how you can relate other content to that in internal link. So that's something that I believe is on Pro and higher, but that is a huge benefit of working in the HubSpot CMS to address quick SEO fixes and strategy, opposed to, say, WordPress or other CMSs out there.
I agree. Tony, do you have any?
No additional thoughts really, besides utilizing the tools that we had mentioned, especially if you're within the pro or enterprise level of the CMS. Like I had mentioned, it categorizes by high, medium, or low. So you could look at low technical difficulty, high return with the high impact, and try to target those first. And then with the role association, target the marketer ones first if you're a marketer, or tap into your developers if you have a development team.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Okay, John here is asking, is HubSpot set up to accept the new G4 event-based analytics? Do we need to set up new dashboards?
G4, like Google Analytics 4. The new Google Analytics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming he's talking about Google Analytics.
Yeah, I actually don't know the answer to that question. I don't know if any of the three of you do.
There is G4 analytic integration. Like you maybe seen previously, there's a checkbox in your dashboard where you can integrate. GA4 now is a second option below GA3. As far as setting up the analytics themselves, I'm not sure what the lift is there.
Okay, we can definitely follow up with you on that one, John, and we can just like let you know if what needs to happen to set up the new dashboards. If we'll follow up with you on that one. I have a few more questions. Is it more important to focus on-page SEO or off-page SEO?
That's another good question. Really, your on-page SEO is your foundation. So Google has become sophisticated enough to derive a lot of meaning from the content and from the SEO elements on your page. So, you want to make sure that you have a sound content strategy that incorporates, all the on-page SEO elements necessary. Once you have that established, then I would say you want to focus on backlinks at that point. If you don't have any strong content to link to, there's no way you can leverage backlinking. So your off-page SEO is important, though. I would say out of everything, on-page SEO is really the crux of any good SEO strategy.
Well said.
Awesome. Okay. Now, how about schema? Is that something we can implement within HubSpot? Another question from the audience.
Yeah, great question. And I can take this one. So schema, if you're unaware, it provides those rich snippets that you might see on Google. They're higher up on the page. They're more visual and probably increase clicks. So if you have CMS Pro or Enterprise, there's a new feature in beta right now where you can toggle on schema for your blog posting pages. So that can help you obtain those article rich snippets that you see in search results. But if you have HubSpot CMS free or starter, that's not included. So what you would do in that case, and also what you can do for different types of content, is you can add that custom schema yourself. So there's kind of 3 different approaches that you could take here. You can manually add it into the head of the page. So you can grab schema. It's usually in a JSON LD format, and it's JavaScript, where you would put in the necessary information into that markup, paste it into your head, and you're good to go. I would recommend probably running it through some type of validator to ensure there's no errors, and it also gives you an idea of what its rendering is. Otherwise, if you have a development resource, you can actually build your schema into your templates and modules. So all of that is built dynamically, and it's kind of a set it and forget it. So it can pull in, let's say you're working with an FAQ on your page. You can dynamically pull in the question, and you can dynamically pull in the answer, and that schema is automatically created. And that's by doing it within the module itself. So really small lift up front, and then you never have to worry about it again. So you can do that for content types like your organization that could be added to your template at the main level. Other common ones that you'll see are like recipes, reviews. Job postings is a big one. If you have job postings, you can put schema in there, and then FAQs. And yeah, there's other types of JSON LD that you can add, but that's kind of the approach you take there, and it will drive more traffic organically.
Yeah. I will add too that also that there's, if you want to learn more about like rich snippets and structured data in general, there's a lesson on it in the SEO certification that kind of goes through what it all is. And if you don't have CMS Professional or Enterprise and you kind of want to DIY it, There are like generators and tools out there where you can kind of put in the information you want, and it'll spit out the code. You can copy and paste that. But yeah, like Tony said, make sure you run it through a validator before you just go setting things live on your website without any idea of what you just pasted in there.
If you leverage Search Console or Google Search Console, you'll get an error as well. So you skip the validation step. Search Console will ping you and say there's some errors in your structured data.
Yeah, thank you for sharing those resources, Rachel, because I was going to ask, what about someone who doesn't know what schema is or what the importance of it is? Could you just like walk us really quickly into that? Whoever would like to go.
Rob, I'll put you on the spot.
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Yeah, what is, so for someone who's just starting out, I know that we had a 60% of our audience that we knew that they knew a little bit and they knew a little bit about the tool. They would like to learn more. What if someone doesn't know what schema is? So can you let us know what schema is and why that is important?
Sure. So schema, like Tony mentioned, is a particular markup language that you can use to better inform Google of the content on your page. So getting Google to first recognize that schema by making sure it's validated is the first hurdle that you need to make sure that that you're meeting. Also, making sure that your page is able to be fully crawled and rendered by Google is important, because that can actually hold up Google displaying some of that schema markup, if not all, depending on where that's located on the page and what those problems are with rendering. And what's really great is anytime Google is able to extract information that they deem pertinent enough for the search query, you're getting better visibility on Google's first page if it's applied to a page that's already ranking on the first page of Google. So if it's FAQ, you get additional snippet length on your SERP listing with, say 2 or 3 FAQs that Google will show, or they'll show that featured answer there at the very top of the search engine results page. So that's particularly what schema is and how it operates.
Can I add one thing to that too?
Yes.
I think it's important also when you're talking about like these rich results and schema, is that even if you add the structured data to your website, you're not guaranteed to show up in those rich results. Like, it makes you a candidate to show up in, the featured snippet or the job postings, the recipe cards, but that doesn't mean that you automatically will. It just, adding that to your site opens up that option for you.
Yeah, that's a great call out, Rachel. Also, the fact that it's not actually a ranking factor. So if you think that you're going to apply schema and then see a big bump in your rankings, that is most likely not going to happen. But it is good to make a habit of applying schema to pages that are already ranking on page 1, so you get that additional visibility, possibly.
Great. Perfect questions and perfect answers. Thank you, guys. One last question for you, Rachel. You did mention that all of this is in the SEO certification. Which SEO certification is this? Is this the first one or is this a new one?
This was in the first one, the schema and rich snippet stuff. The second one, just in case anybody's curious, covers core web vitals, migrations, and how you handle that from an SEO perspective. So I know we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. That is mentioned and covered in the new SEO 2 certification. It also goes into more performance analytics, and there's another lesson in there too, and it's slipping my mind. Now that I just, spent like half a year creating the content and just forgot what the last lesson is, but it's a surprise and you're going to have to go and take the
That's it.
I'm
You're gonna. All right. I think those were all the questions we had, and we're right on time. So I just wanted to give a quick thank you to our audience who has been watching us and who has been actively participating through the poll and through the questions. And of course, thanking you three for being here and being willing to respond to all of these hard questions that were thrown at you. And yeah, just keep a reminder that we will be sending the recording pretty soon on your inboxes. And yeah, we would have to say goodbye here until the next Smart Take.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
So much. Bye.